Did you?
Good Friday evening, everybody. How you doing? I'm Manny Vitale, host of My Fight Our War, co-host of Music and Mayhem and Messing with Manny Vitale, and who knows whatever else is going to pop up, which actually there may be something in the works. So I got to just keep adding stuff on. But either way, and I am able to talk for now. We'll see what happens in the next few. So that's why I'm so glad for our guest that's on right now, because he needs no help at all telling stories or talking, and we'll get into that in a few. I hope you guys had a great week. Here we are, Friday, May 2nd, Detroit, Michigan. Beautiful day, and like I said, just trying to work on keeping my voice. We got let's just pop her in here.
Pop her in
There's OG's
Pop
in the
me
house.
In there. Okay. Hi guys.
She's in charge of. I've got tea.
Yes.
I've got
tea with sugar and
Coke.
honey and lemon.
I've got water.
Gonna stay hydrated.
Yeah, and Susie the Wonder Dog is somewhere.
She's by my feet over here.
But anyways, I've been trying to do as little talking as I could today because of my very special guest, man. Great guy, really getting to know all of them over. He's one of the hosts over at Talking Trash. Jim Leibel is going to be on here shortly and getting to know all of them. Jim, Tim, Kaisa, Will, Billy, whoever else pops in over at Talking Trash. They are.
And Kaisa's already on, by the way.
Kaisa's been on, and just everyone over there.
I mean, she's here now.
She's here now.
She's here. Oh,
she's here now. Kaisa.
At the door. Let me go get the door.
Yeah, we'll go get you, Kaisa. But the whole crew over there, it's just an extension of My Fight Our War. Big family. Love them all. And, you see them, you're going to see me. You see me, you're going to see them. That's just how this family works. So enough of me, enough of all this bullshit. Let's get the man himself on here. Jim, how you doing?
Hey, Jim, yeah.
It helps if I unmute myself. There we go. Good evening, good afternoon. I'm doing wonderful. Like I said before, this is totally a privilege and an honor to be on your show, Manny. And I promise I won't have too much verbal diarrhea, but I want you to save your voice, your beautiful singing voice, because I'm sure you used to be probably a boy soprano singing in the choir at church. I used to be until
altar boy.
Yeah, I was one of those too. Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's Manny. Like, when you come on the show, you see how crazy we get, and these podcasts are so beneficial for the people out there still suffering and in early recovery. This was not around like before the pandemic, and now, fortunately, that these platforms are there, so people can just check in, like either watching it live or recorded. So there's no excuse for saying, well, I couldn't make it to this, or I couldn't talk to somebody. We're here for you 24/7. And that's what it means. And I mean that from like my dad said, from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah. And the thing is, as you said too, because when it comes to people dealing with addiction, when it comes to us, we can find a bullshit excuse for anything. Oh, well, it was partly cloudy. The reception was terrible. I couldn't find the place. It was foggy out. Oh, my internet didn't work. So we're masters at manipulation and excuses. But now, like you nailed it, there's so many different options, which is a beautiful thing, which we do also really hit on because, like with My Fight Our War, there's no one way right now. I mean, there's so many different options, and one thing that we really push is just that we don't say that this is the only way, this is one of the ways, but here's a numerous number of other ways. So
exactly. And you meet people from where they're at that present time,
like Saskatchewan.
Well, middle. Well, actually, the soon 51st state. So there you go.
Oh my
Megan.
God.
Se-
We apologize.
No. Well,
no.
no, Regina. It's
Oh,
actually
Regina.
Regina. It's
Oh no,
actually,
that's right. Our other cohort, our other
he's
Dan
in,
and Donna
are in
from
Saskatoon. Dan, check your damn email or check your messages on Facebook, buddy. There you go. That's all.
Dan and well, actually Donna, because we know Donna's
Yes.
the responsible one. Donna, if you
Yes.
could please
If
tell
you
Dan
would
to check his email.
check your damn or whatever it was.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, it's and I always believe there's no such things as a coincidinky in life. Things
Thank
happen
you.
for a reason. I talked to Daniel about 3 years ago. I was part of what we call our AA convention, and I wanted to have him as one of our speakers, and it got pooed because, well, no, he's drug addict, alcoholic, blah, blah, blah. Like, addiction is addiction, right? And people are slow. It's the old timers, as I call them. I'm in the program of AA. And one thing about our podcast, I'm sure it's yours, we don't push AA, we don't push NA, we just agree with the principles, the way of life, and I have a better, and life is just so much better because of it. When I first came in 20 years ago, reluctantly, I was one of those do it or else type of guys. And it just fought it tooth and nail. Yeah, I didn't drink. I was still the same asshole. I just had fewer dents in my car, and that's what it came down to. And I'm stealing Robin Williams' line.
Hey,
okay.
I have not an
Okay.
original thought in this melon of mine. Trust
I'm
me.
with you. You know what, Jim? I'm
Let me go.
gonna
Let me
I'm
get out
gonna
of here.
get you out of here. But before that,
Thank
I'm not seeing anything here, but I'm gonna push this button.
Oh, no, you got
So I don't know what's
questions
gonna
here.
happen. So hold on, folks. now I can
Now what do you?
see. You know what, Jim? It's with me. Anything IT pushing a button. It's like my dad God rest his soul. I remember years and years ago. He had an old laptop he gave me, and I go, Dad, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. He goes, oh, trust me, you can't. I go, well, what can I do? What can I do? He goes, you can't mess this up. 10 minutes later, hey, Dad. He comes walking in. What the hell did you do? Like, yeah, you said I couldn't mess this up. But okay, now I can see people in here. I see Vince. I see Heidi, Donald, Kaisa, Jacqueline. All right. Well, I'm gonna. We froze a little bit
as the show, the numbers are gonna go.
No, that's why I'm glad to have you on here, because if it's just me, they're like, not again.
Oh, come
on.
Yeah,
but seriously,
superstar,
Jim, man. Again, Jim is a lot of everyone knows is part of the amazing team over at Talking Trash. Again, with Tim and Will and Kaisa, Billy's been on there. I've been on there, and it's just such
fun time,
a fun, comfortable time. And what I love about it, it just reminds me of me and my the wolf pack, the family here, My Fight Our War, because it's not sit down and we're going to pound you with stats and numbers. And I mean, we'll discuss stuff.
Bring it on. I
most of the time, it's
numbers.
just like, you know what? Hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk about whatever. There is, like we talked about earlier, there is no script. So, for starters, Jim,
I ran a whole bunch of.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Now I ran all this paperwork. I ran. Jeez, thanks, Manny. Jeez,
all the stats.
Yeah, it's all
I got pie charts and flows,
silly dad jokes.
and,
you know what I forgot to do, since we're just sitting here and it's not like it's live or anything like that.
No, not at all.
So if I go over here so I can share this out like I was supposed to do. But
you gotta love it.
Let's put this.
Well, while you're sharing, I'm going to say hi, Donald. Hi, Vincent. Let's see who else is here.
Share the
group. You guys did.
Kaisa.
Share that. Now share that. Okay, now we're good.
Oh, you guys didn't have. We had a show in Canada. I'm not much. Probably didn't. It was called Romper Room. I'm not sure if you ever had that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it was with the mirror. Yeah. And I see Danny, and I see Lyd, and I see Kaisa, and all that shit. And it was like, I'm sure those guys were on drugs because like the mirror was cut out. They're like, yeah, I see. I'm sure you do.
It's like some shrooms, man.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of things.
I saw a dinosaur, man.
Oh, God. Good. Jim, I tell you, man, what better people to sit and talk with when you're dealing with any type of addiction, I don't care what it is someone who's been through it. When I first started My Fight Our War, I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't. I wing it. And one thing I said, though, is I don't have any degrees on my wall. I'm not a counselor. I am not a peer coach. I didn't go to school for all these diplomas to understand the human mind and why addiction and all that. But what I am is one of you. I'll sit down and we will never physically able to know what you feel, but we can relate to the emotions and all that stuff.
Exactly. Well, you also know what also has degrees on it, Manny? A rectal thermometer. You know what you do with that? Yeah, I had somebody, they're like, oh, I had so many degrees. And I said, well, you know what has the degrees? And I said that. And I said, shove it up your ass.
Yeah.
We've lived there. We've been there. And everybody has a different story. And we haven't heard them all yet, but we share the suffering of addiction. Yes. And we get to that point where we're just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, addiction is just waiting for you. I always say it's outside doing push-ups in the parking lot. And I know I'm one drink away from going back out and probably never coming back. I know I have another bender left. Do I have another recovery? I don't want to take the chance.
No. And that's just it too. It's like, we've been there, we've done it. And our stories, like we said, our stories are also individual and different. But when it comes to the root of the issue of addiction, it's just like, once you get to the core of it, it's like there's so similar. So, with that being said, man, this is about you and your story and sharing these things that have where you were to where you are now. So let's just start this off with, obviously, let's start by a little introduction. Let everyone know who you are.
Who is this guy?
Who is this schmuck? Hi, my name is Jim and Leo. I like all that shit. I won't get into all that stuff. I'm the youngest of 4 children, born and raised in Regina, Saskatchewan. That's where I am right now. And that's why I have the igloo behind me. As they call it on Talking Trash, they call it a rigloo because I messed up one time. And it's been a great, I didn't have any trauma in my childhood. None. Mom and dad were stable. Born and raised Catholic. Okay, so I'm a recovering Catholic. Sorry to offend you, Manny. I know that spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch, as I call it. And well, think about it. I was never asked. It's like, here's your Catholicism. Here's your fear, guilt, and shame. Have fun, and don't forget to contribute every Sunday. And it was like, huh? And my mother worked for the Archdiocese, and then she worked for the Jesuit College, where my wife actually ended up with employment for 25 years. So we always had that part of our life. It was always faith, family, and friends. That was always key. Mom and dad were always there at the table. My dad ran the family printing business, which I took over after some time in Europe. And I loved it. I really loved it. Sports thing didn't pan out, whatever, but life was great. I didn't have any, when I was growing up, it was great friends. My parents knew all my friends, all their parents. And life was grand. Those days are gone, unfortunately. And I'm sure you kind of grew up with that too, Manny. Being Italian, having the Italian mafia with you. I'm not joking.
Yeah,
of course.
and
maybe not.
Jim, you when we start these shows off, a lot of them are the same. How I was growing up, because some of it stems from day one. I've got people that from the minute their first memory was drugs, alcohol, abuse, a very screwed up family household dynamic where it was just hell. And then, just like you explained, just like mine. I mean, it came from a broken marriage. Our mom and dad, they got divorced and all that. But other than that, surrounded by love. I mean, so I can't sit there and say from day one it was a wreck. So okay. So yours started out fairly whatever normal is.
It was wonderful, but alcohol was always there. So I was, of course, I'm not sure you were an altar boy in the Catholic Church, because I got to skip a class in school in elementary. So you race across the field and you do all the wine and stuff. And my dad was having a Christmas party for clients, and he brings out the Chevas. And I'm like, hey, that's what Father Mooney has at church. I'm like, holy crap. And it turned out he was a raging alcoholic and all this. But I witnessed that firsthand, how alcohol can just mess up even a priest.
Oh, yeah.
And one of our biggest clients was Molson's, the brewery. So I grew up with alcohol everywhere, in business and at the home. But mom and dad were teetotalers. I never really saw my parents, they'd be giggly, but I never saw them floor licking drunk, stupid, smashing shit. It was always a very loving, supporting. Like they were married for 65 years. Like dad passed 6 years ago. Mom just passed in August. But they were just, that's what I wanted. I wanted a stable relationship, just like they did. And I've got 2 older sisters and an older brother. And they're way smarter and way better looking than I am. And they're all across country. One's in Ottawa, one's in Newfoundland, and one's in Moose Jaw, just down the road. And we keep in close contact. But I was always had to like meet that bar, you know, and I was just not academically gifted. Let's just call it, I'm an idiot. Let's just call it that. But,
right with you there, Jim.
But I loved doing with the printing business. I knew from day one that's what I wanted to do. So I went to Europe and I got educated there and came back and we were doing awesome. And I didn't get married till I was like 29. Oh, excuse me, I shouldn't say the S word. Sometimes I throw in some superlatives. And
it was clean.
Yeah, okay. I'll fucking try. And my wife Gail was from England, and it was we got married and we got 2 great kids, and we were both very involved with fitness. Gail was a fitness step instructor. I was teaching spin and body blast, so we were busy. Plus raising kids. My parents, it was like every day, every Sunday over there, going to church, and just that model white picket fence, pool. Like we had it all. Trips to Europe, and until then, Gail was I have alcoholism on my side of the family. My grandfather on my dad's side, who started the business in 1920, was actually an Olympic Greco wrestler. And he was the Canadian champ and was going to go to the 35 Berlin Olympics. And my dad was about maybe 3 or 4, not very well. So he had to pass out and not go. And the guy he beat won the gold for Canada. So that's where his alcoholism really kicked into high gear. And he was larger than life person, started this fantastic football league, was a leader in business.
Come back.
Took him to an early grave at age 62. It was sad. Yeah. But mom and dad, it skipped that one generation. And of course, we pick a wiener, pick me. But I was that social to start to fit in, you know, to be part of the gang. And when we were both into fitness, my wife and I, we'd like have a drink with friends, and we had a very close knit family. All the kids were the same age. And then it just started to, can you get a bottle of wine after you're done your class? Sure. Okay. Get a bottle of wine. And then, hey, can you get a box of wine? And then it just got worse and worse. But we were both functioning, that functioning alcoholics. And having the kids grow up in that environment, like I always say, I can't put the shit back in the dog, can't change the past. I just got to look forward. The windshield's always bigger than the rear view mirror or side mirrors, but just check what the hell happened. And as life progressed, I was really involved with the business and very successful, but I stopped dating my wife. And unfortunately, somebody else did. And it progressed and progressed. And I tried to emulate what he was like. Like he was this triathlete. My wife did triathlons. So you'd bike run. And then she did an Ironman 2 years before. And she died 11 years ago from the disease of alcoholism. Wow. And 2 years previous, she had actually run an Ironman in Kelowna, British Columbia. And and it was December. I'll never forget that night, December 21st, and I was at work, and my daughter was calling me. Mom's not feeling well. This is my 15-year-old daughter at the time. She's now 26. And she goes, Mom's not well. I said, well, just call an ambulance. No, Mom doesn't want to. She says she doesn't want to afford the ambulance. Well, by the time I got there, they were bringing the body out. I could see the arm hanging down. And I'm sitting there with my 2 daughters. And meanwhile, before I got there, she died in my youngest arms at age 15. So,
oh my God.
And there was but Annie, my kids have been through so much at that. My eldest, Katie, she was the executor of the estate. It was supposed to be Gail's sister, who was just coming out of rehab from alcoholism, and she's actually 11 years still clean and love Claire to bitch. So out of Gail had 3 other siblings. Her one sister Lisa died from alcoholism at age 35. And her other brother died actually from a brain aneurysm. But Claire is the only one standing, and she is doing great after 11 years of sobriety. So, but that's the thing about addiction. It can take on so many forms. It can affect anybody. Doesn't matter how much money you have, how much prestige. But unfortunately, society paints people with addiction. You're sitting under a bridge. You're drinking that Mad Dog 2020 out of the paper bag, or you're shooting up your doctors, your lawyers, your police officers, your EMS, your business owners. And I always say that I'm blessed because of now that I recognize that I have a problem and I'm powerless over it. The only way I can keep it I have a daily remission from my alcoholism by giving back, by doing things like this. I sponsor about 6 people in AA, talking to them, talking to my sponsor, talking to Tim and Kaisa and Will and all these people. I was looking at my list of friends on Facebook this morning, and I'm like, 90% are alcoholic and drug addict. But you know what? They're real people. They're real people. We call each other on our shits. We can laugh, we can cry, but it's all, we've been there. I can say to somebody, yeah, me too.
I know how you feel. I know what you're going. You remember when, hearing about that, my friends, looking at your Facebook, looking at the people who are on the list, friends, followers, all that stuff. It reminds me of, what we would hear from our families and our loved ones when they're talking about the people that we associated with the people that buying the drinks, people that were doing the drugs with it, that we said, no, these are my real friends because they understand me. And I remember I heard it just like I'm sure everyone else did. Those aren't your real friends, because when you need someone, you'll see who's really there. And sure as shit, when jail time started coming around, when bills came around, when all those terrible things happened, those people who were your friends at the bar are nowhere to be seen. When you had to get bailed out of jail, nowhere to be seen. But
crickets.
The ones that you just said that are all right here, I'm looking at the monitor, that's our family now. So you nailed it, Jim.
Warriors.
And I've got friends all across the world. I was just at a meeting this morning, and there was a girl from England, and there are people in Winnipeg, and then Kaisa's in Houston, and those yahoos are down in Georgia. And
Detroit.
Detroit. Well, yeah, Detroit. Daniel, who never checks his thing, up in Saskatoon. but you were saying about those people that you thought were friends. I remember the night before I went into I made this big announcement. Of course, I'm shit-faced. I'm going to recovery and expect everybody to go, yay! They're like, fucking about time, But then I went to a private. I couldn't get in anywhere local. I had to go 4 hours north of Regina, middle of nowhere. It was December 2021. And it was this old monastery. And actually, it's called Prairie Sky, shameless plug. And they actually are good, very big supporters of Daniel and Donna. And it was the best 5 weeks of my life, And people are just sitting there looking at their watches, like, when the hell do we get out of here? And I just was a sponge. And I believe of all the people that were in my group, I'm still the only one who's still sober. Like, there's people that have relapsed.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, that's part of people's recovery. And people say, oh, well, when people do have that slip, some people really shame. And I just think, hey, you know what? It's a reset of the clock. You're not starting back at day one.
No,
you still have your knowledge. You still have your toolkit with you.
Yep.
Your addiction just got the best of you. And I admit that I will be an alcoholic to the day I die. The craving has gone, thank God. But if you put a drink in front of me, I would rather shoot. Well, I wouldn't shoot myself in the face. Don't want to wreck the hair. But I'm sorry.
Hey,
yeah, I know. I'm getting a little close. Hitting a nerve there, doctor. I know what it will do to me. It's for me. It's poison. I'm allergic to it. I break out in stupidity and not handcuffs. I was never really actually okay. I did do. This is 1982. This is how the laws have changed. I got caught with a roach clip, and I had to do weekends for a month.
Hey, you know
And how times have changed. Now my daughter actually works at a dispensary. Go figure.
Yes,
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And that's the thing, because it's celebrate. Hey, it's Friday. It's Miller time. It's let's go. It's happy hour. And it's society. It's so acceptable. But
and it
things
started
like
young, man.
fentanyl.
Remember when we were young? It was Wednesday at high school. Hey, when we all knew the bars. Wednesday was ladies' night. This was this night and all that. But you know, like for you, like you were saying, like with, you know, let's just go back to the beginning, not the beginning, but everything was fine growing up. When did the issue? How did you get on this road to addiction? I know you.
There was always
with your wife.
Well, there was alcohol always involved. Like every Friday after work, Molson's, who is one of the largest breweries in Canada, actually Coors, actually they brew Coors now, but it was just down the road, and they were one of our biggest clients, and we'd go drink in with all the salesmen and the brewmaster, but there was always alcohol involved. And even when my wife from England, we'd go every year, and we would go to little tiny microbreweries. And actually, I remember I was drinking pints with a guy he was a cooper. Do you know what a cooper is?
No.
The guy who makes the oak barrels.
Oh, okay.
And him and I drank like 7 pints of like this 12% stout, and we were just shit-faced. But booze was always involved. But it was that we could still teach a class. Like I remember a guy near the end, right before I finally pulled my head out of my ass, and I was given that 6 months, just like my wife was. Like everything's shutting down. I was teaching a fitness class on a spin bike with vodka. But my brain was okay. So I did kinesiology and a little bit of chemistry. I'm like, okay, a potato is a carb. Okay, you're going to burn carbs from teaching. And guess what? You can make vodka out of it. So like whatever. And I would be just hammered on the bike for like an hour. And I was teaching at one point up to 20 classes a week. I'd get up at 5, teach at 6, teach at 9, teach at noon, teach at 5. And meanwhile, my daughter's dancing. So I'd pick her up from school, teach a class. And meanwhile, I always had a bottle under my seat. Always had a bottle. Always. And near the end, I was drinking a 66 of vodka a day. And I would, at the time, my fiance, she'd get up and I would race down. She'd hit the shower. I'd race downstairs, put out the step ladder, reach up in the rafters, grab my bottle, take a swig, put it back, brush my teeth, wash, have a towel ready, drive her to work, and sit outside the LB until it opened, the liquor board. And during COVID, you had to wear a mask. Well, they knew who, like, hey, Jim. They didn't even have to show my ID for their immunization and all that crap. And it's just like, oh my God, like, but I'd have to then, okay, well, I can't go to this one. And Regina's small. We only have 385,000. So it's small. It's a small city, big for Saskatchewan, but everybody knew me. And it just got to that point. I was dying. I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to live. Right. I didn't like myself. Yep. But now that I'm in that, like, first of all, you get sober and then you start recovery. Sober and recovery are two different things. Sober is just, you're not using, your drug of choice. You're just not injecting, drinking, snorting, whatever. But recovery is a total change. You can say, yeah, no, you don't only have to do one thing, just change everything, right? You change your friends, you change your lifestyle, you change your outlook on life. And I have a higher power of my understanding. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's God. But I don't have to physically walk into a building once a week, genuflecting, because my knees are shot. I can't do that.
I'm with you.
It's my friends. I always say everybody's is that spiritual being. We have energy coming in. We're here for a little bit, and the energy just keeps on going. And and we're all part of that. And when you meet somebody and you hear what they're going through, and it's like, yeah, me too. And they share, and you pick up their energy, right? And what you give out, you get back, whether it be bad, good, like positive energy, or negative energy. And I've proven that by throwing out a lot of negative, and all I got was this shit sandwich every morning, double portion, boom, boom. And life is probably busier than it ever has been. And I always say life gets lifey, but I have the tools for shit that used to baffle me and make me kind of go, the solution always was the drink. That fixed everything. Everybody says, well, that's your problem. No, it's not. That fixes everything. It takes away the financial problems, the stress, the barking dog, all that shit is just gone. But all this mayhem and destruction that you leave, like all the broken relationships. And oh God, near the end, I was using my 85-year-old mother's credit card to buy booze. I didn't have to. I just did it.
Away that pain. It's just temporary. It's just like that. We all know so well. All of us that are in this same fraternity that we are all in can relate to everything you just said, because it is this, and what do you hear usually? If you, in our past, it was like, oh man, something happens in our lives. We get upset. Things are starting to fall apart. Hectic shit's going on. It's like, hey, listen, hey man, I can't believe this all happened. Hey, you know what? Here, have a drink.
Yeah, so it'll take a drink.
Just sit down, relax, and have a drink. Here, you're on edge. Have a drink. I can see you're upset. Have a drink. But that was how it was. I mean, and that's how it still is. And for people that don't have issues, there's nothing wrong with that, because they can do it. Like you said, me and you. I mean, I used to be able to do that, but now you can't have a drink because it'll turn into a dozen. A shot turns into a fifth, and so it's a temporary fix. But you want that pain to go away.
And then would result in a felony or something. Yeah. But it always starts out as fun. And then it's fun with problems. And then problems. There's no more fun. The fun is gone. And like I remember like my previous life, like all these people were heavy drinkers, but they could stop. And I'm like, what are you doing? The party's just starting. And that's usually what I turned into, the biggest asshole, said the most destructive comments. And I just kept going and going until I blacked out. I was a classic blackout drinker.
It's like Kaisa, with her show. Kaisa said that she goes, when there was only one reason to drink. You drank to get hammered. You drank to get shit faced. Because when Kaisa was on talking about it, people would say, "Oh yeah, just catch a little buzz or just have a few." And she was like, "What do you mean? You drink to get hammered? That was the only purpose."
And exactly, because that was your only release. Like going back to it was this, and I loved when people say, "Well, mate, why don't you just stop drinking?" Really? Why don't you stop having diabetes or cancer or whatever? It's a disease. It is a disease not only of the body but of the mind, and that's the biggest thing. Like I can stop drinking, and my body is going to heal. Like how it is, Manny. Right? Once you stop drinking, the liver and all your enzymes, everything starts balancing out. But it's still up. You still have that alcoholic or addictive brain, and that'll never go away. But you can gain the tools by talking to others, becoming more educated. I had a fantastic counselor at Prairie Sky, and she just would not put up with any of my bullshit. She goes, "Don't try to bullshit a bullshitter, Joe."
Oh, you can't.
I've seen it all.
You can't lie to an addict. Don't even try. And it's just when you sit there and you try to we always try to make excuses why and all of these things too, and make sense of stuff. And like you said about the stereotype, I had a guy say something to me about, with what you're doing, it's fairly easy because all you got to do is stop. Same thing you just said. I go, and I said the same thing. And then he goes, well, you can spot them a mile away. Spot them. Spot who? Drug addicts and alcoholics. He goes, I can tell just by their appearance. I'm like, oh, do tell. He goes, well, the drunk is walking around with the bag with the bottle inside, stumbling around full of piss. The drug addict is in the alley with a needle in his arm with a shoelace around his, shooting up. Oh, that's a drunk and that's a drug addict. Yeah. And I go, what about the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company who just left the boardroom meeting to go into the bathroom to shoot up? What about this boardroom CEO that just got in a limo to slam a bunch of drinks and do a bunch of lines and shit in his limo on the way to his next meeting? They're not drunks and they're not drug addicts. Mm-hmm. Well, that's different. No, it's an addiction. It's a disease. And like you said too, I love this. Is I had a person I was talking to who said, I want alcoholism to be screamed as loud as when they talk about cancer, diabetes, ALS, MS, addiction. talk about the same way. Throw it in there. Excuse me. Sorry, Jim.
No, and it's true. Well, and I never really I was always hanging around with alcoholics, and when I was in treatment, I met my first meth head, and I'm like, I put my hand down, like, "Where's your teeth, dude?" And it was but he was a guy with an addiction, but it affected him different. His drug of choice affected his body different, but I'm no better than anybody else. I am someone who is sick with the disease of addiction, and I can't cure it. If they gave me if they could give me a pill to say you're going to be cured, you could be a normie for the rest of your life, I wouldn't take it, because I got a way better life, and because I take everything not for granted anymore, right? And I used to always have that first world problems. Oh man, I got to clean the pool. You got a pool? Well, I got to take the van. You got a van? Oh, the house has to be. You got a house? Oh my God! There's people out there at the later stages of their addiction who have lost everything. Like, I lost a lot of shit, but that's all it was. But the biggest thing that I lost that I'll never get back, time. Time is the commodity you'll never get back.
Exactly.
And being an old decrepit fart like I am, I don't have a lot of time left. So the time that I got, I spend as much time as I can being productive member of society. And I don't walk around with the big book of alcoholics hitting people on the head. We always say attraction rather than promotion. And people always say, hey, and I was in this industry, beauty industry, and girls are cutting rails of Coke, and they're asking me like, oh, I got a problem. And I got them into programs like of NA, and these girls are still in recovery, and like people, and quick story, you were saying about people, different lifestyles. I was going to a little town, everything's miles away where I am. And I was driving 2 hours to see a client, and I drove through this speed trap, and the lights come on. My gosh, shit! I didn't have to reach under the seat anymore like I used to.
Oh, yeah.
And a guy comes up, and I always listen to AA motivational tapes, and it always comes up on my screen on my plasma. And the other person puts his head in, and he goes, "Are you a friend of Bill's?" And usually that's like a code word, like, "Are you in the program?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, I'm 30 days sober." Oh. Well, at the end of it, I'm sponsoring this guy, and I got a warning. So there is a benefit to being sober.
You have one, remembering shit, and the thing, like you said too, as far as our lives now, because I still there's not a day that I don't talk about my fight our war and what we do. Like you said, though, I'm not walking around, just this is all I do 24/7. And I will never tell anyone what to do or not to do when it comes to being sober or staying in recovery, whatever it is. But for me, because I did have someone say, man, there's times you don't take this seriously. And to him, I just said, well, fuck you, do too.
Thank you.
He just kind of was like, and I go, listen, you know what? I spent most of my life in this haze where I didn't take anything seriously and I didn't care. Now I'm sober. I'm going to enjoy life. And that means being as silly as I want to be. And yeah, I'm not going to talk about, that's my whole life for me. Again, just me, is not pounding sobriety 24/7. I may do it for 4 or 4/7. And for the rest of the time, I am just on fire doing whatever, why did I just come on here? I'm listening to myself talk on my phone. Okay. But you know what? I always say, what is for me, my thing is, what's the use of being sober if you stop living? For what being an addiction was, being in that room with the blinds down under a blanket, not want to be part of life. And now I've talked to people who feel like, Mandy, I don't want to do anything because I'm afraid of relapse. Well, what do you do for fun? I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere because they're so afraid of, and I get it. And I feel so bad for them because it's basically still got a hold of them to that extent. They're sober, they're not using, but they're still under the power because they're afraid to live a normal life, whatever normal is. But I get what they're saying. But for me, all I could say is live every moment like it's your last. And if that means being a silly son of a bitch, I mean, look at me. I mean, proof right there. Doesn't get much more than this, but to each their own, Jim. You know that.
Well, it's the difference between childlike, having fun, versus being childish. And like when I drank, I was the biggest, I was stamping my feet and I want to be the center of attention. And, I'm going to get attention. Well, I'm going to crawl into a hole. And it's just, it's the disease. And it's so sad. I've only coming up to 3 years, 5 months, but it seems like every day is a gift. And whether you've got 1 day or 47 or 50 years, we all started at day one, and nobody is better. Nobody is taking notes and, oh man, he's got 5 years. Well, shit, my buddy, he's got 26, so he's way better than Manny. No, we're people that recognize that we have a problem. And that's the biggest thing, like admitting that you are powerless over your addiction and working on it. How do I fix myself? I'll talk to somebody else. They may not have the solution, but maybe I can take something away. Hearing that one thing from one person. And I hear it all the time when people share. It's like, oh, yeah, me too. I've been there.
They're like, I got that. Well, I had, when I first got on this wonderful world of sobriety, I was a month sober. And I had this friend of a family member who was also sober, and he brought a buddy over who was 35 years clean, sober. And we were talking, and I remember hearing him say, how long? And I remember saying, how long have you been sober? He goes, 35 years. I was like, wow. I go, man. And he goes, I heard that you're sober now. I'm like, yeah. He goes, how long? And I go, I started laughing. I go, a month, 30 days. And he goes, why'd you say it like that? I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, it's only 30 days. I laughed. He goes, what's so funny about that? He goes, when's the last time you were sober for 30 days? I'm like, I don't remember the last time I was sober for 3 days. And he goes, Manny, he goes, I had to be sober for 30 days before I was sober for 35 years. Every day is such a gift and an accomplishment. And, to celebrate too. Be proud, man. Hey, you know what? It's been a week. It's been a week, man. And shout from the rooftops of that week.
Yeah.
And, enjoy our victories, no matter how small you may think they are.
Oh, and that's when I really get the buzz. When somebody first walks in the rooms or comes to me and it's like they're green, they're scared, and it's like, I've been there, right? And that's the biggest force that's going to be your destruction is fear and resentment. Mm-hmm. And fear, it's like false evidence appearing real, or fuck everything and run. And now it's just face everything and just put the action into it. That's the whole thing about recovery. It's action. You can do all the dog lips. There you go. Dog lips as much as you want and try to bullshit your way through sobriety. All you're going to do, you're setting yourself up for failure. Yeah. The only person you're fooling is yourself.
And see, now what I do is before I'd be irate and angry and all this shit, and I'd be arguing and all this stuff. But now I just say, bring it on. Challenge accepted. Yeah. That's I bring it. Yeah. Now my fight, before I used to fight anything for any reason. Now it feels so good to fight the right thing. Like I always say, keep fighting the good fight. Fight the right thing for the right reason. And that's all of us here. That's you. That's everyone that's talking trash, man.
And the great thing about recovery is watching those people flourish. It's like watching a plant grow. And sometimes they're gonna stumble. Mm-hmm. You always have the hand there to help pick them up. Teach them how to walk across the street, and then they learn, right? And it takes time. It just takes time. You have to be patient. People nowadays want everything now. You wiggle your nose and I'm sober. No, you're going to go through a lot of pain. I always say to my sponsors, if I can give you that gift of sobriety and recovery, I wouldn't give it to you because you'll be denied so much pain. And they're like, what? I said, also joy and growth. And how you view life now. I look at stuff that used to piss the shit off me. I went to Costco today and I just watch people and stuff people in the aisles. I just be patient and hi, how you doing? Oh, okay. But before I'd be slamming my cart in the back of their ankles and yeah, you asshole. No, it's just they have as much right to be here as I do. I'm no better than anybody. I'm just a drunk. That's all I am.
Yeah, and the things that we had
full
to
stop.
Do, and with looking back at what you had to deal with, what were some of the lowest low points in your life dealing with addiction? What were some of the things that you were just like, just shake your head?
Do you want this Dewey Decimal or alphabetical?
Hey, man, go for it.
Well, I guess the death of my wife, but I didn't acknowledge it for almost 9 years. I always just put it in the back of, and when she passed, I was actually in AA. I was sober, but I wasn't drinking. And it just, I always had all these resentments. And I was angry and just pissed off. And I just carried, they're just every day, another rock into my backpack. But it took me talking to hitting that rock bottom, my rock bottom. Everybody's bottom looks different. Like you can get kicked out of the house, you can be on death's door. Everybody's rock bottom is different. It's just when you hit that low point where you're done. You're just done, or you're going to die. They always say you got 3 options: death, jail, or an institution. Pick 3. Pick one of the 3. And I've seen so many people that have picked the third one. My first sponsee was 32 years old, had it all, 3 beautiful kids, gorgeous wife, great job. And he was 3 months and he drank himself to death. Boom. And I was the last text he got saying, hey, can you back off for a bit? And did I carry that burden with me? No. His decision, and it was addiction. I did the best. I am not a psychologist. I am not a doctor. I am just a drunk that is sober just for today. And I tell you what worked for me. I'm not going to tell you how to make, like you say, everybody's path is different. And you can pick, I like what Manny did here. I like what that. It's not like you have to do a checklist, right? And it works for some and it doesn't work for others. Unfortunately, addiction will take you out. And that's the sad part of it. And what's happening now, especially with the heavy drugs, like I never got into, back then it was just weed. When I was growing up, it was just weed. And first time I saw someone do cocaine was 1986 in Mykonos, Greece. Somebody snorting coke on the bar table. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Oh, that's coke. Cool. You want to try some? Nah, pass. I'll just keep on getting hammered.
See, and that's like for me. I remember looking at addiction. It didn't matter if I was drinking, doing drugs, or whatever. I had that bar set. Well, as long as I don't use a needle, I am not an addict. Only drug addicts use needles. Only people that are dealing with addiction use needles. I used to change the level of the bar all the time. Yeah. Only people that get pulled over and get tickets or get thrown in jail are the ones with the issues. Not me, because I've never been pulled over and got a ticket until you do. Yeah. And then you change it. Well, I've never been arrested until you do.
It's like
then you keep
until when?
Until it's your turn. And then you keep putting these, you change, it's not the floor, you don't hit rock bottom, the ceiling just goes higher. You just keep changing the level to whatever works for you.
Yeah. And I always say, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm sorry, God. Right? And
never happened again.
And saying sorry doesn't mean shit. All you're doing is that you're just rearranging the deck chairs in the Titanic. It's acknowledging what you did and acknowledging you have a problem and acknowledging, like owning your side of the street. Like you own the shit. That's it. Plain and simple. Can't change the past, move forward. And there's going to be people that will never be in your life. And I've come to terms with that. I'm done with that resentment. Before it was like, so those sons of bitches. Who are they? Who are the sons of bitches? And what are you going to show them? Nothing. I live a life of peace and harmony. Like, I don't go around namaste, Hey, I'm still a jerk and an asshole, but I don't put up with crap. I'm at that stage in my life, I'm sure you are too, Manny, where you just don't put up with any shit anymore. You just say, I've earned the right to say what I mean. And if you don't like it, tough shit. Right?
That's what it is too. And now it's to the point where in the past, it didn't matter what I had to say because no one listened anyways, because I was, it's just, he's talking out of his ass. But now, it's saying what I have to say. And like OG loves it when I said, I love controversy because controversy brings about conversation.
Yep, it does.
But in my past, I love controversy because it usually meant someone getting their ass kicked. And, there was conflict, there was anger, there was violence. But now I love it because instead of throwing punches and confrontation, it's more words. And I always say too, at the end of the conversation, you might say, man, I was right. Man, he is still an asshole. But looking at things a little differently now, maybe things are a little bit different, looking at it from a different perspective. That's all. Well, I like, for me, believe me, I never say, just like we discussed, it's not a one size fits all. It's not a one way fixes everything. Just like you said too, I'll take just like when I started doing podcasting, I took a little bit of, I'd watch this show and this host, how they did things. The last thing I ever want to do is, I don't ever want to be like anyone else. I want to be me. And, for good, bad, or ugly, that's what I'm going to get. And that's what everyone else is going to get when they tune in. But that doesn't mean I'm not totally stupid, because I'm going to see what's working. What are the good things? And that's how it is with dealing with recovery. Go and look at all the different options. You don't have to pick one. You can pick them all. You can pick like 2. If there's 10 of them to choose from, you can choose all 10 if you want, and then take bits and pieces.
And but it's evolved to that point. Before, it was like, you got to go to AA and you got to work the steps and you got to have this done by a certain time. The old timers, we call them. And I hang along, like I say, my sponsor's got 47 years. He's really strict, but he's like my dad. He's very caring and loving, but he's stern. First thing he said, kid, you got to be humble. And I was reminded of that at a meeting the other day. A good friend from Winnipeg, I hope she's watching, Roseanne. And she goes, Jim, you just got to be. And I said, I know what you're going to say. Be humble. My ego cannot be my amigo. I can't I always use ego is edging God out. And I'm not, I am not the center of the universe. I may have thought so.
Oh, we did.
I am just a small little cog. But that little cog can help move another wheel, and that other wheel can help another wheel. It's like, and that's the beauty of recovery. But the sad part is, there's people that are so struggling, and they try, but they're not trying. But it's the addiction, not getting the education, talking to people like yourself, Odie, Tim, Kaisa. And trust me, I am not an expert on recovery. I'm far from it. I'm probably I am the dumbest guy in the room, which is good, because I want to learn from everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the people I've met all over the world. It's all the different stages of where they're at. And I'm just in awe from the person that's just starting their first step of recovery to people that are at 47 years. And a good friend of mine, she was 22 years in recovery, and she went back out. She stopped talking to people and just thought I always say the 3 worst words when you're in recovery: I've got it.
Oh, without a doubt.
Your addiction will always have you. You'll never tame the dragon. You can never master the dragon. You can tame it. Like my rent in recovery is due daily. That's it. My recovery's rented. That's it. It's a 24-hour lease. That's it. One day at a time. And it's not till next Friday. It's till midnight tonight, and then it's renewed. And how do I renew it? Living a way better life. Not staying away from that first drink. And just, I don't know, just giving back to what was given to me so freely, right?
That's now what it is. It's like, for me, it's like you give what you get and you get what you give. And that's what we're at right now. And, it's one of those things where, I don't expect anything more from someone than I expect from myself. And that, goes back to my weightlifting days and all that stuff when I was training people. But that's how it is. I'm not going to sit there and have all these expectations of all these other people that you got to do this. And then, because that was the old me, the old hypocrite, where this all is true, except for when it comes to me, because again, the functioning part, well, we keep changing the rules and all that. And you just have to go on, and you take, like I said, you get what you give and you give what you get, and, we surround ourselves with what we're doing now. You can't help but be positive, and, just sharing and all the different people that you, like you said, you meet from around the world. And here, what else you talk about, around the world here, me and you, and like, oh yeah, my buddy Dan and Donna, who happened to be the very first ones I ever did a live show with 2 years ago.
He is, there's a man like who's been at the bottom, like it basically literally in a dumpster. Like not Dad, if you're watching, I apologize. But a guy who has done so well, one day at a time. He didn't get there overnight. This is not an overnight success story. This is a one day at a time. And then you look back and you say, okay, keep going, keep going. There's always going to be, and there's going to be setbacks. There's always going to be setbacks. But you use them. I always say they're lessons. There's always a lesson in everything that happens, good, bad. Take from it and move forward. But now I always find when something that could be, like I say, not confrontational or that would cause me to drink in the past or say something inappropriate, I always say, and most of the viewers, the millennials won't understand it. Run the film to the end. What is going to be the outcome? What do they use now? Whatever the hell, tiki-talkie and all that shit. I don't tick. I don't tick or I don't talk. There you go.
Okay.
That shows how old I am. But thinking not how it's not going to affect me, how's it going to affect the other person? And I never did that before. I didn't give a shit. It was always a what can I get out of this relationship? It had to be a transaction involved.
Oh yeah, what do I get?
Yeah, what do I get? I didn't care about your feelings. I couldn't give a rat's ass. And yeah, I'm like, and I we won't get into relationships. Me giving relationship tips is like a leper giving skincare tips. There you go. Just saying, I've renovated a few houses over my period of sobriety. Whatever. Long story short, but it's I can't get enough of recovery, but I don't take it for granted, and I can't let my head get too big because I could be knocked down in a second. I got to take it for what it is, be grateful, and thank the people like yourselves and OG and Tim and Kyson, Will and Billy Bob and everybody out there.
Mm-hmm.
The viewers, the people that are watching and will watch, you are the future of recovery. You can spread because we're not going to be here forever, right?
No.
But it's that leave. I look at what my grandfather, he left this legacy of this beautiful football league, this beautiful stadium in Regina that was built with my name's on it. My last name is called Leibel Field. And I would never be the quarter of the man he was, but I have recovery. He didn't. He had death because of his disease of alcoholism. That just breaks my heart. But that's the thing. It'll take out the business leaders. It'll take out the politicians. Wish it would take out more politicians, but it just takes out everybody. Sorry.
It doesn't care. It doesn't care. You know, addiction, it doesn't care. There's no racism when it comes to addiction. It doesn't care who you are, what color you are, how much you make, what your status is. You know, addiction is, like I always say, addiction is only a word, and it's a coward because it comes at people when we're at our weakest. When we're, strong as hell and we're united and all that, addiction's nowhere around. But as soon as there's that little stumble, the addiction creeps into our lives with those little lies that fill our heads with, it's okay. You can fail this time.
It's only one.
You can only, just this once. All these doubts.
It'll be different. I can handle it. And I always say to people, saying, "Well, I can drink. I got this." I said, I'll tell you what. You go out, do some controlled drinking, and get back to me. And no one has ever. And I've never heard from any of the people who have said. I've never heard their wives loves them anymore. They've got a great job. Their car's paid off. Their kids think they're the best parent ever. I've never heard that, and I don't think I ever will. Because addiction's main, and I call it my dark passenger. That's always with me. It always will be. But I can keep him at bay. I can put him in the back seat or in the trunk. But he's always going to be there, and it's going to be just waiting for me to. And it's not just through the bad times. It's waiting for me when, hey, you just did something awesome.
Oh yeah,
a drink would be so. You've earned it. You've really earned it. And that's I always say it's cunning, baffling, powerful, and it'll just. It's so sad.
It's manipulative, and I've had a few people. Like I said, I will never tell you what to do or how to do it. But when you ask my opinion, hey, if you don't want to know what I have to think, don't ask me because I will tell you. And I've had people say to me, hey, you know what? I think I'm okay. I just let it get the best of me. But now I can control it. Well, for you to say those words means if you couldn't control it once, you think you can control it now. You know what? And that once lasted for how many years? So
Mhm.
now, and I've had people try to talk logic. Well, instead of having 12 beers, I'll only have 6. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay. So instead
you
of
taper,
having,
you just taper.
yeah. So instead of having a gallon, I'll only have a fifth. Instead of a fifth, I'll only have. It's like you're negotiating with the
Yeah,
devil here,
Mhm.
and you're gonna lose. You know, even if you win, you lose. You know, do you see that? And it's just like,
no.
holy shit, man! I'm talking logic, and I go, whenever you start hearing something that makes sense coming out of my mouth, you know you're a mess. It's just like,
Well,
so
that's the great thing. Like, there's no written script
no.
for this. It's you go with what worked for you, and you
Mhm.
talk to somebody and say, hey, well, this is what worked for me. You know, like you can
Yes.
tie somebody or lock them in a room for 30 days. Yeah, they're going to detox. And if you don't give them information, you unlock that door, they're just going to race right back to their drug of choice, because that's what,
Exactly.
unless you learn what it'll do to not your body but your mind. Like, do you really want to die?
Exactly.
Like, nobody really wants to die.
Yeah.
You don't want to live. You've lost that zest for life. And I've had
Oh,
this I call it the restoration of hope. And I say it's not religious, it's spiritual. And I don't walk around I'm far from that. Like, obviously in traffic, hey, you motherfucker, and I'll
oh
just
yeah.
sit and give it the finger out. I'm still the same asshole, but I don't reach for a ball. I don't have to reach under. When I reach into my seat, I'm usually grabbing something. Before, I'll be like, there was always a 66 underneath my seat, and like
See,
it was just
and that's a friend of mine sent me a meme, and she goes, "Manny, I saw this, and it reminded me of you." And it said, "In alcohol's defense, I've done some pretty fucked up shit, perfectly sober." And it's like, "Yep, yeah, you know," and that's what
we're
it is
human.
now. We're
We're
human.
we're human, and that's the beauty of it. You
Yes.
can, and that's the great part. You get to a point of your recovery or sobriety where you can look and you can laugh about the shit you did. And
Oh
people will
yeah.
say, "What do you?" That's the part that really used to piss me off. I remember my first AA meeting. I walked in and I hear laughter, and I'm like, "What are these assholes laughing about?" And then you get the person who's way over the top, and they're like, "Oh, welcome to America. Oh, it's just the coffee's mint. It's just America." Tim uses that as part of our tagline in the show, and it's like, this is a bunch of cult. This is a cult, and these guys
Oh
are
yeah. It's
fucking
like just
nuts.
stop.
And I was off. No way, I'm out of this. But now
Mhm.
I'm dealing with, I associate with people I want to be. And
Exactly.
they come to, they, like I say, we meet each other at our own level every single day. We have good days, we have bad days. It's not all
Mhm.
puppies and roses, like puppies and
Mhm.
rainbows. No,
Mhm.
life is going to send you those shit sandwiches on a regular basis, and you just deal with them or just send it back to the kitchen and change the situation. They always say insanity is doing the same thing and
Mhm.
expecting a different, but with addiction, you knew what the outcome was going to be.
Oh yeah.
And that was the
And
insane part of it. And like Kaisa said, you drank to get annihilated, to get
yeah.
away, and I blacked out every single time.
Yeah, and what we
And
do, man, it's real, it's raw, and it's intense, and it's in your face. And just like you said, it's not sunshine and rainbows, man. And just like I tell people, the stories we tell, the stories that I bring up, sometimes they're vicious. And the thing is, it's like, hey, this is called my fight, our war for a reason. Addiction doesn't sugarcoat stuff. Addiction doesn't play fair, play nice. So guess what? Either do we. You know,
no,
if it comes to fighting addiction, we'll get just as down and dirty and ugly as addiction does to help kick its ass. You know, if it goes low, we'll go lower. You
yeah.
know, we'll do whatever it takes to fight addiction.
I go to any lengths, like if someone's really suffering, and sometimes you're on the phone till from that 2 o'clock in the morning phone call till 6 a.m.
Mhm.
and and you're talking them off the ledge. Where
Mhm.
it's, I am going to drink myself to death. I'm going to get drunk and I'm going to smash my car into a tree. And then by the end of it, it's like you're talking about tuning setting the points on their car, right, or changing the spark plugs. And
Uh-oh.
No, someone called him.
that was my
Uh-oh.
daughter. That was my daughter. She'll have to get out. But that's what one of my eldest daughter calls me every day. That's the thing. That's another beautiful part of recovery. My daughters would avoid me like the plague.
Mhm.
I can't get them off the phone. I went to go,
Aw.
our youngest daughter is coming over for salmon after. And that was my eldest daughter, Katie. And yeah, see that, but I can't change the past. I can just change the future by living a good today. And that's it.
Now,
A
yep,
good friend of
and
mine said, when you got one foot in yesterday and another foot in tomorrow, all you're doing is pissing on today. That's it. Live for today.
You got some good ones.
yeah, and the thing is too,
I got
man. I
1,000 of 'em.
remember in the past. I remember when it came to in my past before addiction came into the world. I was all about family, friends. That's all that mattered to me. Then once addiction, to show people how strong addiction is, it makes you choose between what you love and what addiction tells you you're going to love. I
Mhm.
chose addiction over my family, over my mom,
Oh,
over my family, my cousins, my friends. That shows you how strong it is. Now, you get those phone calls from your loved ones. It'd be like, oh God, they're just going to be nagging on me. Oh, you got to change this. You see the phone, you wouldn't answer it. Now you see that phone ring, and it's just like you smile, just like you just now,
oh,
because now you get to appreciate these calls.
oh.
You appreciate your family and friends and every moment, every word, because as we know, life is precious. And one day that phone's not going to ring anymore.
Yeah.
And those are so in between now and that day, I'm going to appreciate every phone call, every family member, and every friend.
Well, and like say, like they've lost their mother, and like we're losing a parent, but the way they lost their mother
Oh,
due to addiction, and then
mhm,
almost losing their father to
Mhm.
addiction. And when that
mhm.
phone rings, my heart just sings. And sometimes I'm like, I gotta get off the freaking phone, and they're bop, 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 bop. And every phone call ends with, "Dad, I love
I
you,
love you.
and I'm proud of you." And it's like, Jesus,
Aw.
I can't
Yeah.
get back. They say, no shit back in the dog, move forward. And we'd laugh about stuff, but I get serious once in a while
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
life, and it's like Jesus Christ, but I can't change it. You can say what should have been, should have done, whatever. Can't
Yeah.
change it. I
See,
made those choices, and I
yep.
got to live with them.
I've had people sometimes. I'll start to go down my past. I'll bring it up, and I'll start talking about it. And of course, my tone changes when I start talking about my past and some of the things. And some people around me, they'll be like, "Oh, don't go there. Don't." And I'm like, "What do you mean, don't go there? Don't
Hmm.
think about that." No, I want to think about that because where I am now compared to where I was then, back then, I did things and said things without remorse and without feeling, really without any feelings, because I didn't feel any remorse or the emotions that went along with the terrible things that I did. Now, when I look back at my past and I remember the things that I said and did, my heart hurts and
Hmm.
I love it because it
Yeah,
shows, oh, I still do have a heart and I still have those emotions and they're coming back now. So when I hurt someone's feelings, it upsets me
yeah.
because I don't want that. I want people smiling now. When they see me, I want them to be happy instead of, oh God, you know.
Don't get near
So,
Manny. All he's gonna do
oh,
is, oh, yeah.
oh, just be, yeah, that. So now life is a gift.
It is. And you can't, like I always say, you can't change the past. You wish you
Mm-mm.
could, but what's it going to do? I wouldn't be here today if I wasn't all these things that happened in the past, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I look at it, yeah, okay, I fucked up a lot, but I'm also not a bad person. But I can't let that go to my head and say, well, did me now because now I'm in recovery. Oh, no, Jimmy, you're still an alcoholic. You're always going to be an alcoholic, but you could just maybe help somebody who's struggling. And you were talking about the
Exactly.
emotional part for I remember all these emotions coming when I was in early sobriety. It's like, oh my God, how do I deal with this shit? How do I deal with
Mhm.
anger sober? How do I deal with joy when I'm sober? And and it's, yeah, it's good. All these things, these like when you're all those out there who's starting in early, it's good. Oh, it sucks. It sucks, but man, is it a great journey?
Oh, there's
It is.
nothing better than than the life we have now. Is it easy? No, it's
No.
not easy. Is it worth it? Oh, hell
Yeah.
yes. There's
And
no.
that's the beauty. And people say, "You're nuts. What are you talking about? Why don't you just go?" Like your drug of choice took everything away from you. Like it took all that pain. It took a lot of. It could have taken my life.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, that's like when I tell people, I was doing a show and they said, what are some of the things you're thankful for? And I'm just going on and I
Mhm.
go, and I go, I can't forget, addiction. And they're like, no, we said things you're thankful for. And I go, yeah. I go, as crazy as it sounds. And I can't remember who it was. They're like, you're thankful for all these terrible. I go, well, if I had my choice, I wish they didn't happen, but I'm thankful for them, because if it wasn't for that, we would not be having this conversation. If it wasn't for that, there'd be no My Fight, Our War. There'd be no talking trash with Jim and all you guys coming on here. So, yeah, but addiction screwed up, because instead of killing us, it brought a bunch of warriors together.
We're like the phoenixes rising out of the ashes. And I say to people, I am happy. I'm happy that I am an alcoholic. And they look, are you? Yeah. And you're also stupid. Oh. Yeah, I am. But I have all these, I hear Lynn's laughing. I wouldn't hear that if I hadn't, if I didn't have this addiction of alcoholism.
You're good.
We are part of a wonderful fraternity.
Oh,
it's an elite fraternity here.
I can't say the word gratitude or gift enough. And it's because it is everything I do during the day. It's a gift. Like, I'll give you an example. Earlier this week, I was released from my job, and it's a gift. It is, because now I have all these. I've already got I got a job offer already, and it's everything happens. There's no such thing as a coincidence in life. Things I didn't get vengeful or angry. I just thanked them, and I moved on. And I'm still getting messages from clients, and I just pass it on to my previous boss, and he's very thankful, because he would thought that I was just going to be an asshole and slam the company. No, I left with my head held high, because I am my business card. It's my honor. It's my integrity that is me. And if I'm going to be a jerk, whether it be in recovery or just everyday life, it's going to reflect on me. Like, I can bullshit with the best ones out there, and I can see, I can read through any kind of bullshit, because a bullshitter can read a bullshit. And I've heard it all. People, oh yeah, I'm doing this and I'm doing this in recovery. You're still lying. You're still lying if you lie to yourself.
It's just a one-way trick, and that's
honest. And I'm honest with myself in a long time, being honest with myself. And honesty is the key to recovery and sobriety. And yeah, it's going to suck, because you got to get down to the deepest part of your soul and just let it out. And it's going to suck. But I would say the rocks out of the backpack. And it's so relieving. You weigh out, you feel like you're brand new. Like, I'm 60. I feel like I'm 20. I look 75. But I feel amazing. I can't wait to get up every morning. My dog's scratching the bed, and I take him out. I never had a dog. I used to hate dogs. And now this little guy is part of my life. And I'm texting all these people and talking to, first thing is Kaisa and Tim and Will. We always have a thread going 24/7. And Tim is like my adopted son. Like, I'm 18. Technically, he could be my son. Maybe he is. You never know. Until then.
Yeah, it's a night I'll never forget or never remember.
I never remember. But these people are part of my family.
Freeze. He's like, that's it. Yeah. That made the internet freeze.
You forgot to pay your Wi-Fi bill. It's but it's like say life. Like I say, I live a life of an invitational life now, where people ask me to do stuff. Hey, would you be part of this? Could you help me with this? Would you sponsor me? I have a question. Where before,
isn't that amazing?
The plague, I was walking death. And I was just full of anger and like that negative emotion. And like you said, Manny, what you put out comes back 2, 3, 4-fold. So put out the positive, and it doesn't take any more energy. Because actually it's better, because it makes you feel good, making someone else feel good. You know?
When I see somebody who's benefited from something I've either said or done, it's better than any high. It's such a positive influence, and the gratitude is just immense. And excuse me, and it says, right there, it shows in the comments. And believe me, I'm not ignoring anybody. When you're, these conversations, that's why I'm so grateful.
They're like,
be here.
They're like, get them off.
Oh, no. It's just that there's so much going on back and forth. I love you guys so much. This family is just incredible. Jim, when we're done with the show, you got to go and check them all out.
I will.
Everyone on here with just a real quick rundown, and I don't mean quick disrespectful at all. You guys know that with Amber, Donald, Heidi, and we got Tim on there, and Kaisa, Donald Blow, Vincent, man, Donald. And it says every time I go, Lynn. What? Oh, OG. That's
OG.
right.
That's
we
OG.
gotta have OG. Excuse me. But yeah, the family that's watching, and then the ones who are on here, but that we can't see their names, and there's a lot of them on here for whatever reason that I don't see their names on. Andrea's on here now, that don't show up on mine, but they show up on OG's on the phone and all that. We will be responding to your comments and all that stuff as well. No one is ignored. All your comments matter. But for me, when I have a guest on, when it's just me rattling, I'm going back and forth, and I love it when our family will be on here and our family's talking back and forth to each other. We got the shenanigators with Amber and Jacqueline. Yeah, Jacqueline and Amber are just awesome. They go back and forth. And I remember when I first started this, I go, like I said, don't want to be like anyone else. And no one wants to be like me. That's for damn sure. But I want it to be a setting like we're out in the woods, but sitting around a bonfire, just shooting the shit about whatever comes up. And next thing you know, I'm doing a show and I look over and I'm reading some of the comments and I'm like, what? I go, I'm not even sure what that means. And OG goes, they're not talking to you. They're talking to each other. Like, that's what I mean.
Oh, yeah. That's
a wonderful feeling.
It's perfect.
It's just,
I said this on our podcast a couple of weeks ago. It's like people in recovery are not my biological family. You're my logical family.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
We all.
another good one.
It's like we think the same. We all want the same goal, to have a life of sobriety. Like that's quitting is the easy part. It's living a good life, and giving back. That is so key, and you are doing it a 10,000 fold over. You and OG, you guys are just saints. You got a place in heaven already. Well, I got a place in hell. Mine's already warmed up, so it's all cool.
Well, I tell you that I had a friend tell me that
we're gonna have way more fun.
They're like, man, we know you're going to hell, right? And well, at least we'll know everybody.
Exactly.
And,
but
it's so true. We are the perfect dysfunctional family, because we function together. And if that means being dysfunctional at times, we can be as dysfunctional as they come. But the thing is, we relate to each other. We respect each other. We may not agree on everything, and that's fine. But that's just what makes us closer is, the sharing, the output. I remember when I first started this, within the first week or so of starting this, not knowing what I was doing, seeing some of these comments that were so personal and so hurtful that people were sharing. And I'm like, you realize you're sharing stuff with people that 3 days ago you had no idea who they were. Now, a week later, into this amazing family we started, you're sharing such a raw emotion with feelings and stories that your own family and friends don't even know about, but they know that we can relate and we're not going to judge, and we've been there.
The trust,
the
honesty. And that's the key, the honest, like being entirely honest.
Yeah.
And in addiction, all you do is you live this pack of lives.
Yes.
Where, I'm doing this. No, you're not. We know what you're doing. I was always, I know I was the last person to know that I had a problem. Everybody else knew. But it was like living this pack of lies and having just this whole Jekyll and Hyde. And it was just bullshit. But I wasn't going to expect to live a long life. And I don't know if I'm going to get hit by a bus tomorrow. But if I do, I'm going to die sober and I'm going to die happy. Well, I'm not jinxing myself. I hope I'm not. I do live on a bus route when I walk the dogs.
Oh boy.
Anyway, but life, I have no regrets. I don't.
No, it's
I have disappointments, but that's part of life. Life, it ain't a bowl of cherries. There's a lot of pits and there's a lot of shit in that bowl. But you learn to spit out the shit and the pits, and you just go for the gusto, because you don't know. You got a one-way ticket in, you got a one-way ticket out. Live it to the fullest. Come sliding into third with your pants torn up, going woohoo! That was a fucking great ride, man. I love it.
Like here, just like the scars that I have, boy. It shows that I've been through the fight and I never gave up, and that's what we do, man. And Jim, I tell you what, I really, really appreciate you coming on, sharing your time, and like I said, this here, this isn't a one and done. I say that to all the people that come on here. This is just see you till next time.
Thank you. Well, you're back in a couple of weeks with us too.
Yes,
so.
Yep, I'll be back on with you guys. And,
I'll try to behave.
Don't do that, or I won't want to come on. But so you can find Jim and the whole gang, Tim, Kaisa, Will, and Billy, and everybody at Talking Trash. And anywhere else they can find you guys?
Well, one thing we do have, it's kind of different. We have a thing called Clean Time, and you email me, Jim at, don't get it wrong, trashpodcast.com. It's on the website. You go there and you send me a picture. You send me your how many days you've been sober, and we celebrate everybody's, whether it's 1 day or 26 years or whatever.
Nice.
We hoot and holler, and we have a fun. We call it Clean Time. Rub a dub dub, clean behind your ears, and just have a great time. And it's so much. Well, you're part of our Clean Time too. You're in there. Yeah, and we have fun. Like Tim is a very talented graphic artist.
Without a doubt.
He does stupid gifts. Like I've printed out all the pictures that he's done of me, and I frame
I've had a few of myself. Yeah, he got a couple of mine. He's got to fix mine. He had me down for 3 years instead of 5 years.
We fixed it. It's been fixed.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
but
you have to. He's got a lot on. He's got a lot. Well, Sunday was our 103rd episode, and he had it done on 104. I'm like, well, we'll get Tim drug tested after, so 104 is this Sunday. But but we're human. We're human. We're honest. We have fun, and we're family. And we don't always get along. We have that we always have that crazy aunt in the corner, but we're supportive. When somebody stumbles and falls, there's 10 hands fully extended to pull you back up, dust you off, and then encourage you, and not to scold you, to say, hey, look how far you came. Keep going. It's part of it's part of your process.
Yes, that's what I said. We're here to love you, motivate you, support you, encourage you, and give you that kick in the ass when you need it. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and I always say you can't baby them. If you baby them, you're going to bury them. You got to be the tough love.
There's
and you got to
fine line.
And say, is this what you really, really want? Like, I've had somewhere just the dog lips, and I just look at him. I said, "Are you fucking done? Are you done and ready to do the work?"
When you just like a good buddy of mine in New York, in Connecticut, Rick, he goes, you know what? When people are coming to him for help, he goes, I'll help you. He goes, I'm going to help you move mountains. He goes, you better bring a shovel. He goes, because I'm going to bring one. I'm going to help you move that mountain, but I'm not going to move it for you. Yeah. I'll dig it with you. And I love that. So, Jim, it's been a great time chatting with you, man. I really appreciate you and the whole gang at Talking Trash. Look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
I was like, namaste, bitches. No.
Yeah. But again, seriously, thank you so much. And if you got any parting words of wisdom for everybody,
just keep going. Or as you guys say, let's go. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Pitter patter, let's get at her. That used to be a drinking anthem of mine. Now it's like pitter patter, let's get at her. Like, get into that recovery. Start that first day of sobriety. Find people that are going to be part of your herd, that you can trust, that believe in you, and you got to believe in them. And they're going to tell you to take the cotton batting out of your ears, put it in your mouth, and just shut the fuck up. And just listen and learn, because you got these like, well, I'm going to do it this way because that.
Yeah, we see how that got you.
Yeah, and you come back and see how it is. Okay. Oh, you're back in jail. Go figure.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
It's like, did you give your head a shake? Did you hear anything? Go figure.
Well, that's why we're here. We're going to keep shaking until we're going to. Just like I said, no, man, I don't have all the answers, but I'll never stop asking the questions.
Exactly. Thank you, Manny. Thank you, OG.
All right,
you guys
love
are
you, brother.
Two angels, even though you're in Detroit.
Yes. Jim, you take care, man.
You too, my friend.
All right,
talk to
you, brother.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
There we go.
Okay, I was gonna tell him, but if he's still on, I'm gonna steal. I've written down a lot of his lines that were so good.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna use them.
Yeah, I tell you, he's got a lot of good taglines there, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, that
He's good.
was it's always so good talking to those guys, and it is, it's just like family, and it is family, and that's what makes it that much better.
Well, I'm glad you gave him a chance because he doesn't talk this much on the show because there's 5
because
of
of Tim.
Oh, because of Tim.
I'm
Tim
just
was
messing
on,
with you, Tim.
but it was wonderful to hear him. It was
Oh
wonderful.
yeah, and
I think he cured your voice. You sound pretty good.
This is the best I've been able to talk
Uh-huh.
at all. I mean, seriously, this is the most I've talked without. It's starting to crack a little bit now. So
yeah, well, I'll get you another cup of tea.
We did it just right, so that's gonna be it. But just going through, man. Thank you guys so much for everything, Jacqueline. All you guys, appreciate it. Amber said, "Did you hear what he just said, Manny Vitale?" It was a while ago, Amber, so I'm not sure.
Which one? Because he said so many things.
Oh, excuse me. But you guys definitely appreciate you, and we will be back again. We are possibly doing another show.
We got tomorrow with M2 The Rock.
Oh, well, we'll be back tomorrow with M2 The Rock. So until then, guys, you have a great night. Thanks for joining us. And again, until next time, keep fighting the good fight.